Defining costs can be particularly challenging when a large component of a company's product is creativity, which is the case with a Disney animated film.
You start with a business plan and a budget, and you have a creative idea, and in between that there's a big gap. So we sit in that gap and we try to look at creative issues and quantify them.
In most manufacturing operations, there are a number of costs that are difficult to tie accurately to a product. Take electricity, for example.
We use electricity everywhere in the plant. Well, how much of that should be charged to liquid Clorox 2? How much of it should be charged to our bleach business? And what about the power that's used in our distribution center? We have to allocate that back to the manufacturing side of the house and then split it again between a couple of products. So the more often you do those kinds of things, the less accurate your figures become. I think that's probably the most difficult piece that we have to deal with. Significant change.
One of the most basic aspects of cost management is being able to predict the impact of changing costs. As the activity level in a company rises and falls, certain costs will rise and fall or remain the same. For planning purposes, a manager must be able to anticipate which way prices will move when conditions change and how much prices will fluctuate.
If you don't have a concrete base of history gathered that tells you specifically why expenditures were at a certain level and why operational costs was at a certain level, historically we have no chance at all of predicting what the future is. So if you're gathering the historical operation accurately, you're documenting that, and you're understanding the impacts to that. What is the real impact of a drop in efficiency of 10%? What's the impact of a drop in efficiency of 5%? Is it half? Is it exponential? So once you understand those baselines of what's causing your problems, what's causing your expense now, then you can take that and form a model around that gives you the best predictor of future expenditures.
To help make these determinations, costs are often categorized as variable or fixed. A variable cost increases or decreases in direct proportion to increases or decreases in a level of activity, such as units produced, units sold, hours worked, and so on. While total variable costs change, per unit costs remain the same.
Some months we have a lot of volume, next month we have very little. So labor, our glue, filter aids and supplies, maintenance, all that part of our cost system is pretty variable and moves around with our volume.
A fixed cost remains constant in total, regardless of changes in the level of activity within a relevant range. Examples include factory rent and equipment depreciation. Fixed cost per unit changes inversely with the number of units produced. More units produced from a fixed cost reduces per unit cost, and vice versa.
Our knitwear's business is more fixed cost oriented because we have a large investment in a fabric mill. It's one of the largest fabric mills of its kind in the country. So that puts a premium on us keeping that mill full because fixed costs, by their definition, are fixed and don't go away when you're not running fabric through there.
To summarize cost behavior, variable costs change in total, but are constant on a per unit basis. Fixed costs are constant in total, but vary inversely on a per unit basis.